Deep in the heart of the Guatemalan jungle, hidden beneath a thick canopy of green, lies a city cloaked in shadow and mystery. This isn't a story of glorious pyramids reaching for the sun, but of a dark and tragic past. Today, we journey to Dos Pilas, the haunting ruins that tell a story of betrayal, endless war, and a kingdom that burned itself to the ground. Our story begins not in glory, but in rebellion. Around the year 629 AD, the mighty Maya city-state of Tikal was at the peak of its power. But like all great empires, it had rivals. One of its most formidable was Calakmul, the capital of the fearsome Snake Kingdom. In a strategic move, Tikal established a new outpost, a military settlement to secure trade routes and project its power. That outpost was Dos Pilas, the name itself meaning two springs or two water holes. Sounds peaceful, but its history is anything but. The first ruler of Dos Pilas was a man named Will. Here's where the story takes its first dramatic turn. Inscriptions tell us he was the son of a Tikal king, a prince sent to rule this new city. For years, he was a loyal subject, upholding the honor of his lineage. But the Snake Kingdom of Calakmul was always watching, always waiting. Around 648 AD, Calakmul launched a devastating attack on Dos Pilas. They defeated the young city and captured its king, Will. But instead of executing him, they did something far more cunning. They turned him. Imagine the choice he faced: death, or swear allegiance to his family's greatest enemy. He chose survival. Will was reinstalled on the throne of Dos Pilas, but now he was a puppet king for Calakmul. His new mission? To wage war against his own blood, against the very kingdom he was born to protect. Tikal. This act of betrayal set off a chain of events that would drench the Petan region in blood for decades. Dos Pilas, once a Tikal stronghold, became its bitterest enemy. The hieroglyphic stairways found at the site are like a stone-carved diary of this brutal conflict. They don't just depict kings and gods. They graphically detail battles, captures, and sacrifices. One famous panel shows the king of Tikal, Will's own brother or half-brother, defeated and humbled. Under the patronage of Calakmul, Dos Pilas grew powerful. It became a predator city, an aggressive military state obsessed with conquest. Its kings weren't just rulers. They were warlords. They launched campaigns against neighboring cities, expanding their influence and creating a small empire of their own. The art and architecture from this period are filled with imagery of warfare soldiers in full battle gear, captives bound and awaiting their fate. This wasn't just defense. This was a city fueled by aggression. But alliances built on betrayal are fragile. The tide turned when Tikal, after a period of weakness, roared back to life. In 695 AD, Tikal decisively defeated the Snake Kingdom of Calakmul. Suddenly, Dos Pilas' powerful protector was gone. They were on their own, surrounded by enemies they had created over years of ruthless warfare. The fall of Calakmul didn't stop Dos Pilas, though. If anything, it made them more desperate, more vicious. The city's fourth ruler, Kakawil Chankanich, continued the legacy of conquest. He became the most successful military ruler in the city's history, expanding its territory to its greatest extent. But this hyper-militarization came at a terrible cost. The kingdom was overstretched, its resources drained by constant conflict. The end came swiftly and violently. Around the year 761 AD, the capital city of Dos Pilas was suddenly and completely abandoned. What could cause such a rapid collapse? The answer lies etched into the very stones of the city. Archaeologists discovered something shocking. In its final days, the people of Dos Pilas tore down the stone facades from their temples and palaces, the very symbols of their royal power and sacred beliefs, to build crude defensive walls. They frantically barricaded the city center, turning their grand plazas into kill zones. One wall was built right across the sacred hieroglyphic stairway, defacing their own recorded history in a desperate bid for survival. These weren't the fortifications of an organized army. They were panicked, desperate measures. Spears and arrowheads were found littered everywhere, evidence of a final bloody siege. And who was the enemy? It wasn't a great rival kingdom like Tikal. The evidence suggests the attackers were the very people Dos Pilas had once conquered, the surrounding cities and villages rising up in a furious rebellion to reclaim their freedom. The royal family and the elite likely fled into the jungle, trying to establish a new capital at a more defensible site called Aguateca. But the spirit of the kingdom was broken. The violence they had unleashed upon the world had finally come home to consume them. The once proud city of Dos Pilas was sacked, burned, and left to be swallowed by the jungle. As you walk through the ruins today, the atmosphere is heavy. Unlike the grand plazas of Tikal or Chichen Itza, Dos Pilas feels different. It's smaller, more compact, and carries an undeniable sense of dread. You can see the defensive walls, hastily thrown together with priceless carved stones. You can stand in the Bat Palace, a dark labyrinthine structure that feels more like a fortress than a royal residence. You can almost hear the echoes of the final battle, the clash of obsidian blades, the shouts of warriors. The city is a tomb, a monument to the destructive nature of ambition and endless war. The story of Dos Pilas is a crucial lesson from the Maya world. It shows us that their civilization wasn't just about brilliant astronomers and architects. It was also a world of complex politics, shifting alliances, and brutal, devastating warfare. It reveals how a single act of betrayal could unravel an entire region, and how a kingdom built solely on military might could ultimately collapse under the weight of its own aggression. Dos Pilas reminds us that history is written not just by the victors, but also by the vanquished. The silent stones of this haunted city tell one of the most compelling and tragic stories of the ancient Americas. A grim warning that echoes through the ages. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey into the dark heart of the Maya world. If you found this story fascinating, please hit that like button and subscribe for more adventures into the mysteries of the past. Let me know in the comments which abandoned city you'd like us to explore next. Until then, stay curious,